Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for passing by. Thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you very much for watching my videos. You are greatly appreciated. Now, I'm moving away, traveling away, back to my Get Back, where I speak on issues that are hidden in plain sight, a lot of things that are happening around us that we haven't seen or we are seeing but we can't understand. And I'm here to divulge information to the mass and let you guys know what is happening. Now, I have walked way back, way back, and I've been doing a little bit of read up, a little bit of research on African American history or Black American history. You all know I do not like the word black when it comes to describing Black people because in language, black is being used as something negative, as something evil, as something bad. And so when you use that connotation to describe a group of people, then you are putting something bad on them. And at the end of the day, you want them to feel empowered and embrace it. And it also wasn't used to describe people until rather the 16th century, because prior to that, black was used to describe like a type of mobility or something like that. So it wasn't necessarily used to describe a specific group or identifying any individual. Now, walking way back, now we are talking about something in the 1800s and 19th century. And I'm speaking on how the depiction, how the imagery, how defining the meaning of calling Black women masculine, of calling Black women masculine, I'm sorry, and also violent, not feminine, not sexy, not attractive, not fair, not beautiful, not soft, and all of that came into play. So after the Civil War that ended in the United States, yes, this is African American history, guys, but we are not that far from them because we have similar history when it comes to our ancestors being enslaved and stuff like that. So I am within my right to speak on it and also let you guys know in the Jamaican and the Caribbean space and also persons in the diaspora what is taking place and why when people see you, the Black woman, they believe that you are automatically a masculine individual, a violent person, a person that's not to be trusted, a person that's overly sexual, willing to open your legs to just about anybody, and very promiscuous and all of that. Now, after Civil War ended and, they came in with a system, the federal government had left the southern states. And so they decided that they're going to revert the governance of Black people back to the southern states so they could deal with Black people how they want to. And that's when they instilled the Jim Crow laws of the South. And so the media had a field day, describing Black women in very negative connotations. In today's world, very few stories or very few news reports have been made to give highlight to the Black women who were attacked, assaulted, tortured, terrorized, violated, abused, and also lynched. So many times we've heard about the Emmett Till, we've heard about the George Stinney at age 14 electrocuted, but there was also Mary Booth, a 13-year-old poor little girl, small, frailing body, who was also sentenced to death. And I did a video on it and I spoke about it over on my SSD Advocate channel, which you guys can go over there and watch the video. I think it's on Tabara Kings and what had took place. But anyways, I'm back here. Now, after slavery, when the Jim Crow laws were instilled in the United States, African Americans just could not live. That was just not a law for any human being to survive. It was made to offend, it was made to subjugate, it was made to demoralize, destabilize, degrade, and keep Black people in a degenerated position where they simply cannot win. Yeah, their right is wrong and their wrong is wrong. They will never win. A white person could easily well tell a lie or tell a story or make up a story about a Black person and they were dragged from their home. They were tortured. They were burnt with hot iron, blowtorch. They would be lynched. They'd be castrated. The woman would be stripped naked. She would be burned just the same and she would be hung and they would fire bullets at her and stuff like that. So the Black woman had went through similar atrocities just as the Black men. However, I'm going to give light on the stories because at the end of the day, we have to give information about the things that took place, because you study the past to know the future. And in order for you to move forward and for your voice to always be heard and also respected, you have to understand where you're coming from and the strategies that were put in place to keep you subservient, subordinate, and to make you inferior and remain, accept your position of inferiority all the time, and to diminish your concern and your pain and your suffering. So you won't be heard, and you'll be referred to as overbearing, always complaining, difficult, and all these type of modern day connotations used to automatically describe a Black woman when she's voicing her frustration or pain and suffering. And so we have to tell these stories. So I'm going back, right? And like I said, after the Civil War, and the Jim Crow laws were in place and stuff like that, the Black women from tender ages of childhood and stuff, they would work as helpers, they work as cook in the home, as maid. Some of them were called nurses, but it was just like a modern day, it's just an old word for a babysitter or a housemaid, but they were called nurses and stuff like that. And so they would take care of the white person's baby. They would be cook, like I said, cleaners and stuff like that. And so there was a time when there's a female by the name of Jenny Steers, and she was from Shreveport, Louisiana. At the time, she was working with a white family, and upon working with a prominent white family, one of the daughters drank some lemonade, and she died from poisoning. The young Black girl who was working at the house, Jenny Steers, she was accused of poisoning the female. No test was done to find out, the toxicology being done to find out if she was in fact poisoned by the lemonade, or any investigation to find out if Jenny was the one who actually poisoned her. She ran away because she knew at the time that she would be denied her right to justice, and so she ran away from the plantation. We call it plantation, even though slavery had abolished. She ran away from the home, and when she ran away, they were hunting for her. A man went out for her, and this was it was like an exciting sport for white people at the time to hunt Black people, to torture them. You will have people traveling from many miles out in numbers, and I'm talking about hundreds. I'm talking about thousands. They will come out hunting for Black people and participate in the sport of torturing and lynching Black people. So they wanted to lynch Jenny Steers, and they weren't letting up. She ran away, she hid. They eventually caught up with her, and they wanted to force her into a confession. She held on to her in a sense and saying that she had nothing to do with it. The news report, and I'm sorry, the media houses had a field day in destroying her image. They refer to her as a Black demonic woman. She's very evil and wicked. To want to poison a beautiful, fair daughter of a prominent white man. And she was so gorgeous. The white girl was such a princess. She was so sweet. She was so innocent. She was so precious. She was so beautiful. They called the Black woman jealous. She was overbearing. She was very aggressive. They made up stories saying that she had fought in the plantation field with another Black woman, and it was so difficult for a group of men to get her off the other woman. And this is a fairly small, frail 26-year-old Jenny Steers at the time. And so the media did their job in tearing and tarnishing the reputation of Jenny to make her look bad. They put it on her. Like I said, proper investigation was being denied to find out whether or not she had anything to do with the poisoning of the young woman, the white woman. And so they did not care. The media just went on and they decimate the character of Jenny Steers, and all the negative connotations were used to describe her as Black, as demonic, as aggressive, as very manly, very strong. She was a thief. She was a whoremonger. They said that the white woman was to marry a white man who they believe was intimately involved with the Black woman, who was Jenny Steers at the time. And so she was jealous of the white woman. She wanted her fairness. She wanted her beauty. She wanted her appeal. She wanted that treatment and the privilege that she got from being white and beautiful and stuff. And Jenny was this ugly Black woman who was desperate for attention, hating on the white woman, jealous, masculine, overly aggressive, very violent in nature, and just a black demon who wanted to destroy a beautiful, fair white woman. That was how the media put it then. And we are talking something from 18 something, guys, into the 19th century, that is. So we are showing you, like I said repeatedly, that the media keep the engine going of describing black people and putting out these images of black people and keep it circulating in 2025 in the algorithm of social media. So young generation of black women coming up will believe that is the way they should behave, that is the accepted behavior. It's funny and it's great and you can make money from it until it's time to be professional and time to be serious. They're going to see you in that light. They're going to have that depiction of you. That type of connotation is going to be cemented in their head of you, and you will be denied a lot of things. And the moment you decide to complain, then they're going to use the same adjectives to describe you. So this is why I always speak on the Rosalie, I always speak on these type of people in the social media space, the Candy, the Ivani, this type of behavior that they portray. It's funny and you're making money until the world decide to see you, you decide to take yourself serious, I'm sorry, and the world decide to stick you to what you constantly portray out there. It's then you will understand what you were actually doing. So back to the story. When the media did that, the men caught up onto her, they captured her, they took her out, they stripped her naked, and she was hung. Jenny Spears was hung by a group of white men. She was stripped naked and she was hung. After being hung, that's never enough for them in the Jim Crow South. They decided to fire shots at her body and her body was torn up with bullets. I mean, this young female was already gone, unalive. She's hung. There's nothing you can do to the body. That was never enough. They decided to fill up her body with bullet holes and stuff like that. They also had a history of after torturing, hanging black people or burning them alive, doing all of these type of things. They used to take the body parts for themselves and use it as a souvenir. They made postcards from the photos. They also drove around in the town and showing the body to other black people to terrorize them and to put fear in them, to let them know, do not step out of line because the Jim Crow laws will come for you. And these were laws that said to benefit white people for them to do just about anything to the black woman and believe that they can get away with it. And they also believe that they should have unlimited access to the black woman in every way, and she should have no say in it. She should do nothing about it. She was denied her respect as a human. She was denied her humanity, her decency. She was denied every single thing. She was made to seem less than a human being. She was made to seem less than an animal, because they weren't known enough to whip their animals or hang them. So black women were being treated less than an animal. They were being treated like something not of this world that should be subjected to torture, pain, and suffering until their last breath. And that was what took place with Jenny Stairs. She was accused of something. No investigation was taken. The toxicology report wasn't done properly. And so she was just tried and executed by a mass of people. And that was it. They wanted a confession out of her, because when they force you into confession, it will give them some sort of gratification and justification for lynching the black woman. And these were things that they were known to do: torture you into confession, burn you with hot iron, blowtorch you, doing these evil things to the black woman, rape them, dismember them, doing all of these type of things, even while many of them were even pregnant, obviously pregnant, 9 months pregnant, big tummy, and they were willing to strip them naked, lash them, hung them just the same. They did not care, because they did not see the black woman as an actual human being. I'm sorry, guys. They did not see the black woman as an actual human being, but rather than something not of this world that should be dealt with like a brute beast. And so moving on into today's society, when a lot of women are being called, or when black women are being labeled as masculine, as overbearing, as, all these negative words, miserable, violent in nature and stuff like that. No, the characteristics, we don't say that there aren't black women who portray this behavior, but it's not synonymous to black women. It's just the media who is the engine. And as Dr. Ray Hagan said, he who controls the printing controls the thinking of the age. And so once the person controls the media, they can make you the most glorious individual and they can make you the most unknown or the most infamous individual. And this is what the media has been doing all along. So I was listening to Junior Reid's song about Babylon release the chain, and it's pretty much depicting it. Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. They're using their brain in every way to subjugate black people and keep the media, keep everybody programmed. That's why I always say social media is a social construct. It's a part of the social programming. So you will have an automatic imagery in your head of an individual, of particular group of people in certain demographics, certain races when you see them. And that's why I always say you have to be careful of how you're portraying yourself and how you behave in the media, because this is what they want. There's a reason you will find a Rosalie famous on TikTok. You will find the Ivani, the Candy, even the Daima who is always cussing. You will find them very famous on TikTok. You will find them famous on social media. You will find them circulating on social media because they keep them circulating in the algorithms. So the younger generation coming up will believe that this is a normal behavior and this is how black people should behave. And one thing I always say is that black people enjoy seeing the degenerated version of themselves. And this is one of the reasons they will click at all times and they will quick to share these type of videos rather than share something educational about a black woman, something inspiring, something beautiful, something alluring, something classy, something sultry, something desiring. You understand me? About the black woman. And that's why I always preach on black women embracing their sexiness, their femininity, their beauty, their intelligence, their fairness, their soft. I always speak on embracing it, because once you do and put it out there continuously, eventually they will have to pick snippets from those group of women that are in record numbers constantly and start portraying that imagery of the black woman. But they won't do it because racism is an institution. And in that institution, there are degrees, whether you like it or not. It's coming from politics, and politics is coming from religion. Because at the end of the day, someone has to be made to feel inferior. So the industrialism can continue to make a lot of money off the backs of people who are considered inferior. And that's how it goes. And everybody is a part of it. That's why you find that your greatest enemy oftentimes is the black man. He's one of them who's quick to call a black woman masculine, quick to call her miserable, quick to call her overbearing, quick to call her this, quick to call her that, self-hating, low self-esteem, want to look like white women, but they have no issues when the white woman uses collagen, injecting their lips to have those big lips like black women, to have a big butt like a black woman, to tan their skin out to look like a brown skinned woman. They have no issues wearing these hair extensions, clip-ins, lace wig, just the same to look like someone else, not their natural identity. They have no issue. They're like, go girl, that's so great, that's nice, self-care, all of these type of things. They follow them continuously. But the moment they see one black woman doing that, they start to attack, because they were wired and programmed to think that the black woman should remain and accept her position of inferiority. Do not add, do not take away, just leave yourself as is. And when you leave yourself as is, they will get something that they will complain about and give them a great excuse to go to the fair, the natural, the beautiful, the sultry, the attractive, the princess, the feminine white woman. It will give them a great excuse to say that you just look dead boring. But they can't say that now, because there is an enhancement, there is a twist. Black women are coming into themselves, coming into self-care, coming into self-love, coming into enhancing their beauty, coming into getting an education, coming into understanding themselves, into respecting themselves, into putting themselves forward, considering themselves first. And as one commenter said, under my channel, they worship themselves. And I consider that a beautiful thing. He said it was totally disgusting. And I said, yes. And that is a beautiful thing. Disgusting. And who do you know come up with a song named Disgusting? Clink, clink. You see how energy work, guys? anyways, this is the thing that I've been saying. So once you come out of the woodwork and you realize who you are and understand yourself and realize that there's an engine to keep seeing you, so the world will treat you accordingly, so that people can make money. These industries can make money off your low self-esteem, I'm sorry, and also of considering you inferior and having you believing that you are less than. They will make money. It's being perished. It's being pulverized because you're coming into your oneness, you're coming into your acceptance, you're coming. So you want to move away from that. And this is the reason I always speak on the type of people who are constantly setting Black women back some 50, 60, 70 years because they're constantly pushing out something negative about themselves. They rarely come on social media and try to do something positive, try to put out something positive. And knowing that the algorithm is going to be tweaked, so they are circulated, they go viral instantly, versus a young little child that's trying to cook, a young little Black girl that has a cooking talent, have a sewing talent, have a designing talent, perhaps, have an invention or an inventory talent. And, they just die this out. And so we have to fight constantly unless we find an ingenious way to tweak the algorithm and come up with our own social media space that's owned by us, controlled by us, depicting of us, cherished by us, respected by us. Then we will always be on our knees begging for them to portray us in a positive light. So this is my message to Black women, and I'm going in and I've given you a history, I'm sorry, as to why you are always seen like that. You are always seen in the negative rather than in the positive. So it's not necessarily you. The things that are being said is not necessarily you. It's just that this is what was portrayed of the Black woman by the media from way back. I've spoke about it so many times. And here we are in 2025, and many persons, including the very Black man, has been programmed to believe these negative things about Black women because he's constantly seeing it also. He's seeing it possibly in his home, he's seeing it among his peers, and he's seeing it in the media. And so he doesn't believe that there's some outside the scope that are in fact not like that. Not only that, it's not a behavioral pattern that's synonymous to Black women. It's just that the media tend to focus on the Black community negatively rather than portray any other race negatively constantly in the media. And that's where it's at. You understand me? But once there's some sort of understanding, once there's some knowledge of the past, then you will seek to be the difference and be the change in the future, because that's all you have, yourself. And you have to fight to keep the best version of yourself and to portray it at all times. You understand? So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your day and may God bless you. Bye-bye.